Hello, Steve White, Trekboy89 for Steve Arts 89. I just caught this. I'm wondering if other people noticed this, but okay. So I was responding to Gene Roddenberry, Jean Gene Roddenberry, on Twitter, who said that Paul Wesley was too old for Captain Kirk. He should be in his late 20s or something this time, or mid 20s. I'm like, no, he'd be the same age as Shatner Kirk was in Balance of Terror in 2266. He'd be in his 30s because if I remember correctly, Kirk was the first captain to get command of a ship by 30 or before 30 or something. So he would have been about 30, so he'd be about 31, I thought. He's actually 33 in 2266. And he was born March 2266. And I looked at the alternative Captain Kirk because supposedly it's the same universe and the timeline is the difference. And the timeline starts at the time of his birth. But that was January. So either he was born 3 months premature or his mother was pregnant with him 3 months sooner than she was in the other universe, which would establish that he is a different Kirk and the universes are different but similar. So she still got pregnant. It still turned out to be the same person, but it's not literally the same person because she was pregnant 3 months sooner and he was born 3 months sooner. So was she due to conceive or was it premature because of the attack of the ship? But I can't imagine a ship attacking would put someone into labour 3 months premature, especially since, yeah, I'm thinking this actually supports the idea that, because originally the idea was, the original universe, they'd start a timeline from the original universe and they'd do the film in that universe and they'd just show, like, bookending that universe with that timeline with the original Star Trek universe. Then they were told, no, you can't use the original universe at all. You have to create a new universe. So they created the Prime Universe, which is the JJ version of the original series canon universe. And originally they said, oh, it starts from when Nero and the Narada comes through. That's when that timeline starts. Then they turned around a few years later and said, oh, no, when you create a universe through time travel, it extends both ways. You create a whole new universe, so it doesn't just start from where you are. It's like, it's the whole universe. So we can go back in time in that universe and forward in time in that universe because it's a whole entity, a whole thing, not entity, a whole thing. And I'm like, okay, so that would mean if like I said, if he was supposed to be born in January, if she wasn't premature, if the birth wasn't premature, then his mother would have been pregnant with him at another time, and it is still sort of Captain Kirk, but not quite. It's a different Kirk. And you can have differences like that, like babies, because the idea is people would have similar lives, but not exactly the same. So the idea of people having intercourse on different times and having babies at different dates that still turn out to be the same people, but not exactly the same because they haven't had the exact same experiences, but they sort of have. When you look at it that way, it does look like those dates, and I haven't seen anyone say anything about her being premature, that she went into labour. Was she already in labour? Did she go into labour? It seemed like he knew she was close. It wasn't like a shock. But I'd have to go back and watch the film again. I don't think they state she's premature or that necessarily that the attack brought it on. That I think it seems like he was expecting it anyway. So I don't know, it's very strange. Because no one's mentioned that before. I haven't heard anyone mention all the arguments about the alternate timeline and the original timeline and the prime timeline and the different Kirks and I haven't heard anyone mention the birth dates being different and whether or not he was premature or not. So I just saw that and I thought that's interesting because, like I said, that would support the idea that it's a different timeline for a different Kirk, a different universe and a different Kirk, a different timeline and a different Kirk, and not because people argue, oh, the timeline changed from when the Narada came in. I'm like, well, no, it exists both ways. So if she was pregnant before he showed up, then it's not the same Kirk. So it must be a different universe with a different Kirk. So I just want to point that out. I don't know if anyone else, I haven't not heard anyone mention that. I don't know if I missed something about them announcing that she had the baby premature or something, and that's why no one ever mentioned it because it doesn't make a difference to when he was conceived, blah, blah, blah. But I haven't heard anyone say that or mention that. So I'm going to go do a bit of research about that because I'm not sure. But I find it interesting because I'm sick of people arguing that this is the same universe, that Strange New Worlds, Discovery, Picard are the same universe as the original Star Trek series, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, all that. It's a different universe. And I don't mind them rebooting it and creating a different universe. I just wanted, A, to have the same basic elements of Star Trek, like an optimistic utopian future, and, you know, the crews not fighting within themselves, and humanity have settled their issues and all the issues are external. There's that. But, yeah, I'm not really bothered by a reboot, as long as they acknowledge it. And like I said, as long as it's recognisable Star Trek and they acknowledge that it's a reboot and they don't try and tell us it's the same universe and the same people and the same canon, which they keep doing, which just slaps us in the face. But because they're catering for people who don't know the original series, they don't notice the difference. So they don't have to care about their target audience and they don't care about us. So I'm going to go before this gets to 6 minutes. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this. And if you've heard of any mention of her being premature in some book or something, let me know.